Hello guys, what's up? Alien Chaos here, and this is one more video here on my channel. And today's video, I'm going to talk about my synths. I have this recommendation from Suffocate Bullet. He asked me to make a video explain about my hardware synths, zero cost or something else. Thanks so much. Love your music and tutorials. Thank you so much for this recommendation and your participation here in the channel. And then I decided to make this video explain a bit about these hardware synths I have here in the studio. I have here the Make Noise, Zero Cost, and Doepfer Dark Energy. Both are semi-analog synths. So I'm going to explain a bit on this video why I got this synth, what is a semi-modular synth, explain a bit of the circuits, how it works, and give a sound check from both synths and explain what's my thoughts about it. So stay with me till the end of this video. I hope you enjoy. Let's dive into it. Why I got these synths? So as a producer, I'm always looking for the best soundings, and every time analog comes in the question, and I really would like to check if the analog sound is actually better or not. But to dive into the modular synths, definitely it's so much money to spend. So that's why I chose these semi-modular synths, just to have some idea if the analog gives that a different sounding or better sounding. And semi-modular synths, it's a great way to start because you can have the analog sounding, but you don't need to spend so much money because it's just a semi-modular synth. So the question is, what is a semi-modular synth? A semi-modular synth is a synth that you can use it as a synthesizer, a regular synthesizer, let's say, because both synths, the Dark Energy and the Zero Cost, both they work without any patch cables because it's hardwired internally. So, for example, here on Dark Energy, I have the USB cable. This USB just works for MIDI, and I also have a MIDI input here. On Make Noise, the same. I have here a MIDI in, and it comes with this adapter. You can check here. It's MIDI. Going from this, then you can plug here and you can play the synths. It's automatically hardwired. It's already have some patch inside, but you can also have the ability to change the circuits. For example, change the circuits to Dark Energy to Zero Cost, or the opposite side. It's good that you have this ability to do that. And of course, pricing, if you want to start in the modular world, I really suggest we start with the semi-modular synth because you don't need to buy a lot of stuff and spend so much money on it. Because here you already have, for example, a VCO, a VCF, a VCA, envelope, two LFOs, everything together. So you don't need to spend money on a rack, buying each module separately. So that's the best thing about semi-modular synths. And of course, also already deliver the good analog warm sounding. Okay, so how it works, these synths, it's basically by changing the circuits. It's all about electrical circuits. I can show to you in this video about three main circuits that we can use here. It's a kind of language to talk with these modules. The first circuit I would say here is the trigger. The trigger is just like some transient. So it's like a click that you can use this click. It's a very short circuit that you can use to trigger some events. So for example, I can plug a cable here on tempo and tap. With my finger, you'll see that it's triggering the event here. So I can use this signal to trigger a sample in a drum machine, for example. I can trigger drums, a kick, snare, hi-hats, just using trigger, because trigger is just a timing when you're gonna trigger that event. They don't have a length information. The other type of signal, I would say, it's gate. Also goes from 0 to the maximum, the same as the trigger, but it has the length of the timing, let's say. So if I put it here on tempo again, and let's say if I hold a little bit and then release, it's acting like a gate, because the signal goes to the maximum, and then when I release, close the gate. So it's opening the gate and close the gate. So you can also use this, for example, when you press a key on your keyboard. So if you stay pressing, you have the sustain information, and then when you stop it to press, it closes the gate. So you can use the gate information to send to some envelope like that. And the last type of circuit is the CV. It stands for control voltage. So CV can be any kind of signal, from this regular type of signal, from the triangle, sine wave, the saw waveform. Of course, you can also use random sample and hold waveform. And when you have envelope, for example, the shape of the attack, sustain, decay, and release together gonna make a final shape, and this final shape, it's a CV. Then you can change this voltage around the synths to create some more modulations and many crazy stuffs. Okay, so let's dive into the dark energy first. So to make some sound from it, I'm gonna be raising this VCA knob. You see that we already have some sound going. It's going, when I raise this VCA button, it's like I'm feeding up with a linear positive value just to feed some sound on it. Now I can listen to the VCO happen. So on VCO, here I have tuning, octave, here I have the pulse width. If I go to the maximum, I don't have any sound, because this is a square wave we're having now. If I go here, it's opposite phase, opposite pulse, sorry. Here I can change the shape for sawtooth, but for example, now I'm mixing with the square wave. So if I go here on maximum, I stop the square wave to sound, and then now I'm just listening to the saw wave. Okay. Here I have another kind of saw wave. also here I have pulse width modulation, and here is the frequency modulation. This frequency modulation can be routed from LFO1 and the pulse width from LFO2, and both can be routed to ADSR here. Now I'm gonna to test the LFO, the frequency modulation with the LFO1. You see here the signal going. I can go very low. It's changed. For example, here is positive, negative, and changing here the rate. So I can have here some ranges. Here is the low range, a medium range, and a very high range. I can also change here for square wave. And now let's try the pulse width modulation. I go here using the LFO1. Medium. You see, almost sounding like two waveforms going, but both synths are monophonic. It's just one wave going. Another section here, I have the filter, frequency, the cutoff. Here's the resonance. Here I can change the style of the filter. So here's low pass, sorry, it's the notch. Here is high pass. Yeah, here is the band pass filter. The last one here is the envelope, but I'm not going to use on this video, just don't be really extensive, but it's self-explanatory. Envelope, it's a tactile case sustain release, and also it works with MIDI, so if I send MIDI through Dark Energy, also recognize this and start to work with the envelope. Okay, so this is the Dark Energy. Let's go for the make noise. And one thing I really like about these synths is that I have the ability to pass the audio from make noise to Dark Energy, and of course the opposite. I can make it. So to do that, I go here, dynamic, and link here to external audio. And now I need to send a linear voltage, positive value, to the output, just for me to actually hear the sound from it. So to do that, I go here all the way to maximum, plug this cable here, and go directly to dynamic. Now I'm listening to the Zero Coast. Zero Coast is a kind of different synth. It's not like the Dark Energy, because Dark Energy sounds like much more like a regular synth with VCO, VCF, envelope. The Make Noise Zero Coast brings a little bit of the West Coast synthesis, so you don't have a filter on it, but also has some East Coast synthesis. This envelope here, also this cycle stuff, and then you can have many different combinations. Is a totally different approach of synthesis. So here we have the oscillator. I can fine tune here. Here is the output of dynamics, but you can notice that we have some kind of filtering. Also, it's the volume and the filter together. This is the unique way to filter some frequencies on the synth, because it actually don't have a filter. Okay, now we are listening to the regular sounding. So basically here we have this oscillator coming to the output here. I can also select different waveform. Let's use some square waveform. So and now we have a square shape waveform. And another thing we have here in this synth is the overtone section. The overtone is basically this section here. This section use a kind of wave folder style of synthesis to generate extra harmonics on the main waveform. So here's the multiply. It's adding more harmonics, as you can see. This multiply sounds like a filter. And also overtone changes the overall character. And then you can balance with the original VCO waveform. To make things a little bit crazy, here I go to slope. This slope acts like a LFO, so I'm going to put here in cycle mode and put on linear. I think this is the best thing I found in this modular synths, is this sound of this slope modulating. It's totally different than any LFO on pitch. The sound is very smooth. It's a very nice character. Here I can also trigger some tempo. For example, now you see this is a kind of trigger, and this trigger is routed to this random waveform. So if I got a patch cable from here going to the 1 volt per octave, I'm gonna change the pitch in a random way. Here I have the amount of the modulation from the slope here. And I can also select just the overtone. Can also make it a little bit faster. Here it's very clear signal. coming from this square wave. And for example, I can use the signal from the dark energy from this LFO here. For example, I'm gonna take it now out and put it here. Now I have the LFO from dark energy modulating the VCO of the make noise zero coast, and as the sound from the zero coast is passing through the dark energy, I can use the filter from dark energy. So this is the best thing we can have with the modular synths, that you can really change the paths and create some much more experimental sounds with it. One thing I would like to mention also is the self-resonant filter. So to do that, I will take out now the make noise, the zero coast, and now I'm going to raise just the resonance, because take a look, because now I don't have sound from the VCO. So now I'm gonna raise the resonance to the maximum. And now we have a sine wave, but generating by the VCF, by the filter. So the filter is actually oscillator now. And then I can use some modulation, for example, this LFO2. To generate some extra harmonics in the sound. So let's say I want to use this random waveform. So I'm going to come from this random waveform. I go to the VCF here. And now I have this random waveform modulating this knob here. So this is the way we change the circuits and create some different paths. So yeah, I believe with this experiment, you already have some idea how it sounds, these synths. And that's the question. Analog synths really worth it? From my experience is yes or not. Because you must to know how to handle and to work with these synths. Because it's totally time consuming to stay like thinking about routing and stuffs, and really takes so much time than the regular VST, let's say. Because on VST is everything is so much faster and easy to work on it. On a semi-modular synth or on a modular synth, you can spend so much time doing the same thing, but at some points the sound it's different, and sometimes can be better. For example, this slope modulating the pitch is totally different. Also the frequency, the filter self-resonant sounds brilliant. It's so much better than any VST. But for example, for tuning sounds, if you want to make some melody, some arpeggio very quickly, it's very hard to have this in tune. So that's the other point of this kind of synth. You are going to experience some latency, and for my workflow, I don't use so much to make this kind of melodic stuffs with those synths. I prefer to use VST because it's totally in tune, and I just use more the synths to make this kind of noisy and glitchy effects. So my best workflow here on the studio is taking some times just recording some sounds from it, and then I just leave the sounds in some folder on Ableton. Then I just drop the sounds on Simpler, and then I further manipulate there. Of course, I have a very small setup here. I really miss some more effects, some different stuffs. But with the setup, I'm happy because I already have some analog sounding come from, and working on Ableton, making this workflow with the samples, I can further manipulate, add a little bit more effects on it, and have a very good sounding from it. So I hope you guys enjoy this video and have some nice insight about this semi-modular synth. And if you want to know anything more about it, just let me know in the comments. I can make some more videos about those synths and explain some more patches, and let's make some killer music, guys. Hope you enjoy the content. Subscribe to the channel, share with our friends, and comment and make some power music, guys. See you in the next video.